I'm going to say a few words, and then Shannon will say a few words.
Okay.
And then if anyone else would like to open it up again, we can do that. So I wrote mine down.
Check my tape.
A few words.
You're all good.
I think it's just,
Yeah.
My professor is now in.
after a PhD, you got to write it all down. I've got some footnotes, and I'll email it to all of you later.
How do you turn the flash?
Oh, that's fine. So many spiritual authorities are pointing out that we are living at an important turning point in creation. The purpose of life is no longer one of leaving Mother Earth to join heaven, but using our bodies to bring heaven here, to establish a life divine for everyone. We might call this descendant spirituality, and it involves serving our neighbor in silence and love, because our neighbor is divine, and because happiness lies in making others happy. As one spiritual teacher says, to penetrate into the essence of all being and significance, and to release the fragrance of that inner attainment for the guidance and benefit of others, by expressing in the world of forms truth, love, purity, and beauty. This is the sole game which has intrinsic and absolute worth. All other happenings, incidents, and attainments in themselves can have no lasting importance. Well, the United States of America is a special laboratory where experiments in democracy, philanthropy, material mastery, and other new forms provide a physical foundation for this game of expressing truth, love, purity, and beauty in the material world. Marge and Alberge are beneficiaries of this new nation and its special blend of cheerfulness, energy, material mastery, and hunger for the truth. And we are beneficiaries of that union. Marge's grandparents were part of the Calabrian diaspora. Those were people who immigrated from Calabria, which is a mountainous region at the tip of the boot of Italy after the unification of Italy in 1870, an economic depression in 1876, and frequently deadly eruptions by the nearby Mount Vesuvius. All of these things pushed many Calabrians out of Italy, and a small group eventually made their way to a special place called Salida, Colorado, where Mom was born. It's called the Heart of the Rockies, and it holds a special place in our hearts as well. It's located in south central Colorado near the Continental Divide. The Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad founded Salida as one of its major division points in 1880. The same difficult year, the Ute tribes of the state finished their stewardship of those vast lands and had to cede them to the U.S. government. When railroad activity started to decline in the 1950s, Salida increasingly became a ranch town, which lasted in earnest until the 1990s. Now tourism is its bread and butter. Well, Mom's grandfather and father were part of America's material mastery and boundless energy as they both worked the railroads in the early 20th century to unite the country by steel embodying the bold motto of the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad. That motto was, through the Rockies, not around them. Well, later generations of Marge's family worked and owned ranches, and then Mom built a life in Salida that included music, nature, the Catholic Church, friends, family, and food. And we are all the recipients of God's gifts in music, her own unique way of expressing beauty in the world of forms, as she sings with such heart and tenderness. She was a teacher and used her gifts with us, her 3 children, who grew up in the nurturing embrace of her care. This care is motivated by her hunger for the truth that began and ended in prayer. I think we all remember well, as kids, praying with Mom as a child before we went to bed every night. And we are sure glad that she decided to leave the convent with the Sisters of Loretto in Denver to raise a family. And now, And now this hunger for the divine expresses itself in her love for her grandchildren and in her work with those who seek her spiritual direction. Now, Al was born in Trinidad, Colorado. This small city of now 8,153 people was first settled by the Spanish and Mexican traders in 1842, when it was still part of the nation of Mexico. The Santa Fe Trail, an international trade route, went right by the town, and in 1862, coal was discovered in the area. Word went out, and people from Mexico and many parts of Europe descended for mining work. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad replaced the Santa Fe Trail in 1878, bringing more people to the town. Though I don't know my dad's family history, I imagine that some of those people were originally part of this immigration of coal workers, both from Mexico and Europe. Trinidad is located near the border of New Mexico in the lower elevations, but has many hills in which Dad liked to hike and hunt as a boy. He and his family lived in an adobe house in the hills, and they even had chickens in the back, as far as I remember the stories. His love of nature, his boundless energy, and his natural curiosity about life was fed well in this land. In his 20s, Dad moved to Denver to attend business school, eventually moving his mother and younger siblings around 1963. Over his life, Dad demonstrated his material mastery and energy by his practical intelligence in business, his skill for financial planning in family life, and being a skillful handyman working on the cars and tinkering with house projects in his shop. He loved airplanes and technology, playing guitar, and going to the Denver Bronco football games. He would also search for buried treasure with his metal detector, and also he would launch model rockets in fields nearby at the Denver airport. As a boy, I loved to watch his happiness as the rockets climbed out of sight. In the backyard, he practiced shooting arrows with a compound bow at a large straw bullseye target. He even built us kids. He even built us kids a fort on stilts in the backyard that we could play in, which you probably saw a picture of. You will see that in that slide section. Our pets often got into the action. At different times in our lives, he let us have cats, rabbits, and a turtle named Oscar. I love that turtle. Dad now shares his skills and his love and his devotion with his grandchildren. Now tell me if this is right, Mom and Dad, but they met one another 50 years ago in 1967 through a mutual friend, Teresa Lloyd, who was Mom's roommate in Denver, right?
That's true.
And she wanted to be here, but she's here in spirit. And we'll just toast her real quick. Teresa, the one Teresa. Join them together.
And your godmother.
And my godmother as well.
Yes.
The two of them got you together?
She's your godmother.
Oh, she's my godmother, of course. Yes, she's my. Praise Jesus. All right. What did I say? Oh, yeah. So, at the time, Dad worked for the Federal Aviation Administration as an air traffic controller, and Mom, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And Mom was an elementary school teacher. It was almost love at first sight. Mom had eyes for Dad pretty fast, but it took Dad slightly more time. At first, it seemed like Dad wasn't interested. Their first time out together was really a non-date because Dad didn't even know it was a date. They went to the mountains outside Denver. Is that where it was?
Yep.
Where they hiked and ate pancakes, and all the other couples thought it was a date. Well, everyone else afterwards, Dad didn't call at first, and finally when he did, he showed up at Mom's apartment with another girl, ignoring our Italian princess. So, Margaret kicked him out, which was very important. And, he's got to prove his quality. Well, Dad finally got wise. He reoriented his romantic attachments, and he came a-calling in earnest. I guess you could say he paid Mom more attention and did so with great success since they got engaged 3 weeks later. Well, it's 50 years later, and what a gift you have been for each other, for us 3 kids and our spouses, and for your 4 grandchildren, and your dear friends and companions in life. You have been brave and courageous and resilient to grow in Colorado and then to seek a new life in North Carolina. You mixed your unique family histories with one another and with this beautiful southern state. You have more adventures to come, and though some may be difficult, they will not be faced alone. You have us by your side as you have been by ours. We toast you with all our love, grateful that you have heard the call to express in the world of forms truth, love, purity, and beauty, and we will never be the same. For we have grown because of your love. To Marge and Al, Madre and Pops.
Thank you, Captain. God bless you.
So that was your PhD dissertation?